All right, let's get right into it. If you've ever worked in manufacturing, especially in a regulated space like pharma, you know the classic tension. It's that constant push and pull between quality and operations. Today, we're going to look at how to take that friction and turn it from a roadblock into a real engine for success. And this quote from Andy Robbins just nails it, doesn't it? The point isn't for these two teams to think exactly alike. They're designed to balance each other out. And that tension, when it's healthy, is what actually keeps a company strong. The key word here is counterbalance, not combatant. So let's paint the picture. At the end of the day, both quality and operations want the same thing, a safe, reliable product for the customer. But somehow that shared goal gets totally lost across this invisible line that can feel like a massive canyon separating the two departments. And you know how it goes, right? These stereotypes pop up almost immediately. On one side, you've got quality, the so-called compliance police, just walking around with a clipboard ready to say no. And on the other side, you've got operations, the production heroes, who just need to hit their numbers and feel like they're constantly being told we don't have time for that. It's a classic us versus them story. But here's the reality. It's so much more connected than that. Quality's job at its core is to protect everybody, the patient obviously, but also the company itself from major risk. And operations, their job is to feed the company, to make the mission happen and keep the whole thing running. You see, one protects the house and the other keeps the lights on. You absolutely cannot have one without the other. So why do we need to care so much about this? Because when this partnership breaks down, it's not just about a few tense meetings or some hurt feelings. The risks are real, they are tangible, and they can hit the business hard. It usually starts small, kind of quiet, with compliance gaps. When the teams stop communicating effectively, little regulatory details start falling through the cracks. And that creates these hidden landmines that might not go off until it's way, way too late. And from there, it's a domino effect. Those gaps lead straight to batch delays. A small disagreement suddenly blows up into a full-blown investigation, grinding production to a halt. All of a sudden, your schedules are a mess, and that directly hits your customers' trust. And you know what comes next, right? All of this leads to some pretty painful audit findings. Because when the regulators show up, a team that isn't on the same page just looks unprepared. It almost guarantees you're going to get hit with citations and some really costly fixes. And when you add it all up, the cost is just huge. And I'm not just talking about the obvious stuff like compliance gaps, all those deviations, or the batch delays. The deepest damage, the stuff that's hardest to fix, is the culture erosion. It's that breakdown of trust that can seriously poison an entire organization. Okay, so that's the problem. It's a big one. But let's shift gears and talk about the solution. How do we actually stop building walls and start building bridges? We're going to walk through 6 really practical strategies to get quality and operations aligned and working together. So here's the roadmap. It's about reframing roles around shared goals, engaging each other early and often, always assuming positive intent, building a common language, which we'll get to, standardizing what you expect from each other, and a really important one, celebrating your wins together. Let's break down a couple of the biggest game changers. Okay, let's start with this one because it's massive. Engage early and often. The data suggests that this one little shift can wipe out 50% of all preventable conflict. I mean, think about that. When operations brings quality onto the floor before there's a problem, or quality loops operations into risk talks from the start, the whole dynamic changes from blaming each other to solving the problem together. And that flows right into this next idea, assume positive intent. This slide shows it perfectly. Think about the language. Asking, "Why didn't you do this?" is an accusation. It immediately puts people on the defensive. But saying, "Help me understand," well, that opens a door. It shows you assume they're a pro who ran into a problem, not a slacker who messed up. It totally changes the conversation. So you've got two teams speaking what might as well be different languages. Quality is talking regulations. Operations is talking throughput, schedules, resources. How do you get them on the same page? You need a translator. And that translator is the word risk. When you frame every decision around risk, the risk of delaying, the risk of releasing, you create this neutral ground where both sides can make a smart decision together. Look, any good partnership is built on trust, and trust is built on consistency. It's that simple. This slide lays it out clean. For quality, if something is a requirement, it has to be a requirement every single time. No letting things slide on a Friday afternoon. And for operations, if it's written in the procedure, it gets done that way, every single time. That mutual reliability is the bedrock for everything else.
Okay, so we've done the hard work. We've built the bridges. What's the payoff? Well, the results aren't just about avoiding bad stuff. It's about creating some seriously positive, powerful outcomes for the whole business. And this is what winning looks like. Fewer last-minute fire drills, faster, more predictable batch releases, audits that you feel confident about, not terrified of. You end up building a much healthier compliance culture, and at the end of the day, a stronger, more agile team that can solve anything. These are the wins everyone gets to own together. Now we're at what I think is the most important takeaway of this whole thing. After all this talk about alignment, you might think the goal is just perfect harmony, to get rid of all the tension between quality and ops, but that's not it at all. The real goal is to make that friction productive. That natural tension between the two, it's not a bug in the system, it's a feature. It's the force that pushes for both quality and speed. It's the counterbalance that keeps the company safe and agile at the same time. You don't want to eliminate it, you want to harness it. And this quote just wraps it all up beautifully. Your shared purpose, that safe, effective product, that's your foundation. The mutual respect you build between teams, that's the structure holding it all up. And the partnership, with all those strategies we talked about, well, that's the bridge that connects the two sides and lets you move forward together. So I'll leave you with this one question to think about. Look at your own workplace, your own teams. That tension that exists between your different departments. Is that friction productive? Is it making everyone stronger? Or is it destructive, just slowly grinding everything to a halt? The answer really does make all the difference.